Breaking news. The Brazilian president was upset to learn he would not be meeting with the Ukrainian leader, Zelensky. On Monday, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva expressed his upset over not meeting with Ukrainian Prime Minister Volodymyr Zelensky at the Group of Seven summit in Japan, adding that his counterpart appeared uninterested in negotiating peace with Russia. Lula has been accused of being soft on Russia over its invasion, so Zelensky wanted to have a one-on-one meeting with him before leaving the summit in Hiroshima, where he received new diplomatic support and pledges of more military aid. When asked why they hadn't met, both leaders cited conflicts in their schedules, which led Zelensky to joke that his Brazilian counterpart must have been disappointed. "I was not let down," Lula said at a news conference before returning home from Japan. "I was upset, because I'd like to meet him and discuss the matter. However, Zelensky is an adult. He's an expert at what he does," he said. Lula mentioned that he and Zelensky would be meeting on Sunday afternoon. However, the Ukrainian leader was running behind schedule, and he had other commitments afterward, he explained. At the summit, Zelensky received overwhelming support from G7 leaders, including the United States' approval of his request for F-16 fighter jets. Even though India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was not a member of the Group of Seven, he was still persuaded to say that his country would do whatever we can to end the conflict. He told him, "I understand your pain," and Modi agreed. Brazil did not make any such public display of support. Lula stated that meeting with Zelensky at this time would serve no purpose because neither Zelensky nor Russian President Vladimir Putin showed any signs of wanting peace. "Currently, they're both convinced they're going to win the war," he said. Brazil, along with other neutral countries like China and Indonesia, is being proposed as a mediator by Lula, who is actively pursuing peace talks. However, the seasoned leftist took some heat last month for saying the U.S. was encouraging the war. Since the White House had accused him of parroting Russian and Chinese propaganda, Lula softened his stance and said that Brazil did, in fact, condemn Russia's invasion. On Monday, however, he redoubled his criticism. In his words, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden is telling Putin that Putin has to surrender and pay for everything he wrecked. "That message isn't helping," he remarked. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol announced on Sunday in Seoul that he and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz had reached an agreement to strengthen defense cooperation through the protection of military secrets. Yoon stated at a briefing that the agreement on military information would help smoothly operate the defense industry supply chain, despite the current global economic and political climate. South Korea has expanded its defense industry in response to rising demand caused by the war in Ukraine and other global tensions, but it has thus far refused to provide weapons to Kyiv. South Korea has also recently pursued a similar information-sharing pact with Canada. Given the threats posed to democracy by authoritarianism, the instability of global supply chains, and the ongoing conflict, Yoon emphasized the very vital importance of respecting freedom as a universal value. In his opening remarks to Scholz, Yoon said, "From now on, I expect South Korea and Germany will further expand reciprocal and future-oriented cooperation and strengthen the solidarity for peace and prosperity of Europe and Asia." The two heads of state also talked about expanding their collaboration in the semiconductor industry.